All right. For today, I want to check out specifically this one from the Paint Explainer. Every paradox in 8 minutes. So I know maybe about half. No, less than half, I would say. Is that okay? I'm just gonna let him explain them when we get to it, but I think I may know about half of these. This one is always funny to me. The Pinocchio one, if he says I my nose grows if I tell a lie, or my nose will grow, I believe is the one. And because he said a lie, his nose will grow, but because his nose now grows, it's no longer a lie. I think that's the one that's going to be. But I think this is going to be a really fun one to learn about some of the other ones I don't know about. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to go to the Paint Explainers channel, subscribe, like, leave a comment to help their algorithm. If you can do the same for me, I'd appreciate it. And let's get into this.
Grandfather paradox. If you use a time machine to stop your grandparents from meeting,
Marty.
you might prevent your own birth.
Fried.
But if you were never born, how could you have used the time machine in the first place? Achilles and the tortoise.
Oh, he's really going brief on these. I thought he was going to talk about it more, but it's just straight up, this is what it is. Next. This is what it is. Next. This is what it is. Next. I thought he was going to talk more on it, but yeah, the only ones I can think of with this one is like Back to the Future, and then we have well, there's a lot of them actually now. Like Philip J. Fry, I think that one was hilariously weird, where he becomes his own grandfather. It's so weird, but it's funny.
Achilles, a fast runner, gives a tortoise a head start in a race. The paradox says Achilles will never pass the tortoise because every time Achilles reaches where the tortoise was, the tortoise has moved a little.
I'm assuming, okay, I'm trying to think about what this actually entails. I'm trying to think if it's assuming that even though he's faster than the tortoise, he can never reach the tortoise because the tortoise from where it was is constantly moving. Even though he reaches the same spot, he could be standing on it maybe, and technically he hasn't reached the tortoise. I actually don't understand what this one means.
Keeps going like this forever, making it seem like Achilles can't catch up. Ship of Theseus. You have a ship and
Yep, and then you replace all the parts. Is it still the same ship?
you replace all its parts. Is it still the same ship? If you use the old parts to build another ship, which one is the original? Sorites paradox. You have a heap of sand. If you remove one grain at a time, when does it stop being a heap?
Who the heck made up this one? Who created this one and why? What boring times have you had? This is probably a philosophical thing that they also came up with. It's like, at what point does something become another thing? Like, if we say, oh, there's a group of people over there, how many people do you need for it to be a group? Like, I feel like this is basically what that is. But this is so funny to use like a heap of sand. And then it's like, okay, when is it? It's not a heap though.
Barbershop paradox. In
What
a
is this?
town, the rule is the
Wait, I feel like I've heard this one in high school for some reason.
barber shaves those who don't shave themselves. But who shaves the barber? If he shaves himself, it breaks the rule. If he doesn't, he should be
Wait.
Barbershop paradox. In a town, the rule is the barber shaves those who don't shave themselves.
So he shaves those who don't shave themselves, but if he shaves himself, oh, okay, yeah. That's a funny one. Who the heck came up with this one? Like, this is the same as the mailman, like the mailman that people like would always make jokes about too, where it's like, well, who's his mailman then? Does he give him his own mail? He shouldn't do that. Or like some other like stupid like attempts to make it the same. But also looking at this one, I just keep thinking of Alston High School. It was one of my teachers. He was a bit eccentric and like giving like silly or weird facts. Actually, was it? Maybe it was college. I don't remember, but he was talking about the Suleiman and how the only people allowed to touch his head because it is like a holy thing is his barber and his wife, I believe. I don't remember if that wife part is correct. It might just be his barber and himself because it was supposed to be like uh, a religious thing as well. So then he told the joke is so no one's allowed to touch the Solomon's hat or hair or head, except one person who is more powerful than him that's not God, or not more powerful, but like who is the only person allowed to touch his hair basically, and it's the barber. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like some like silly thing about that.
But who shaves the barber? If he shaves himself, it breaks the rule. If he doesn't, he should be shaved according to the rule. Catch 22 paradox.
Yeah.
Needing something you can only have if you don't need it. For example, a pilot can avoid dangerous flights if he's insane, but asking not to fly
If he's in, what do you mean?
shows he's sane. Fermi paradox. If the universe is infinite, why haven't we seen any aliens? Opposite day paradox. If I say that
Okay.
it's opposite day, is it? Simpsons paradox.
Oh,
It
okay.
occurs when a trend appears in different groups of data, but disappears or reverses when the group are combined. This shows that the overall conclusion can be opposite to the conclusions drawn from individual subgroups. Tolerance paradox.
That would make sense. Because if you're taking a sample population and then you combine it into the actual population, you should be seeing actual changes, assuming that your thing was a limited research. If you had a, because that's the way research works, is no matter how large the sample size is, if it's not the population, you can't have technically the true information you need to make an assumption of something. So until you are able to literally get the entire population as the sample size, you will not have like a perfect or true value to go off of.
Unlimited tolerance can make tolerance disappear.
What? Wait. So unlimited tolerance. I need to let him speak a bit more because I want to make sure I'm understanding this a bit better. If not, I'm gonna have to just try to understand it on my own.
As it allows too much intolerance. For a tolerant society to survive, it must not tolerate intolerance.
I think that's true. So if you are intolerant to if you are tolerant to God, saying that hearing that word so many times does not feel real anymore already. So if you're tolerating everything to occur, at some point the framework and everything will collapse on itself because it cannot uphold itself in any way. So in order to have tolerance, you have to be intolerant to certain things or events in order to uphold your means of being able to tolerate stuff. It's okay. It it is so confusing to try to explain the way I'm thinking about it because I understand it. I'm just terrible with explaining it. So let's say this is let's go with alcohol or something. So if you were tolerant, if you can tolerate everyone being able to drink, everyone would be drinking even though they shouldn't be. We're going to assume that everyone is drinking as well, by the way. So if they're allowed to drink, they will drink. So if everyone's allowed to drink and they are going to drink, it will cause a lot of problems because, alcohol, too much alcohol as well, especially if everyone's drunk, is not a safe thing for like a public or a community. So in order to avoid such a case where everyone should not be doing this, you have to become intolerant to the everyone being able to drink alcohol. So this creates the paradox right there, where you kind of can't do one without being the other. You can't tolerate stuff to happen and have it not happen, or you can't. God, it's so confusing to explain. I think I just need to move on though. But like, it kind of, I kind of could explain it, but it doesn't make sense when I explained it when I just heard myself back or think back on what I just said. Except for the alcohol part, I feel like that's okay. It's not great. It's not a perfect depiction, but it's decent enough that you can get the understanding of, in order to allow tolerance to exist, you have to be intolerant to certain things in order for it to be able to uphold itself.
Bootstrap paradox.
What is this?
If a time traveler gives a young Einstein a book with the theory of relativity, and Einstein publishes it as his own, who's the original author?
That's a funny thing to think about. Because technically, would the young Einstein even understand what he would be technically publishing Would it be his future one? Okay, that's a funny one to think about. What if this young Einstein just says whoever this mysterious stranger that gave me this book is the actual author? Oh god, this is turning into like a weird conspiracy theory kind of like thing in my mind. Like this bootstrap paradox, I think just becomes like conspiratorial in nature.
Stockdale paradox. Believing you will soon
No, don't do this.
succeed decreases your chances of succeeding. Meanwhile, maintaining a belief that you will succeed one day increases your chance of succeeding.
You never think that you're always going to succeed, by the way. There will always be hiccups. You just have to plan for that time where you finally get your moment to shine and just look up. If you're like looking too high, you'll never see when the ground beneath you falls. So just keep your head on your shoulders. Be sane, be civil about it.
Jevons paradox.
What is
Technological
this?
improvements that increase the efficiency of resource use tend to cause an overall increase in resource consumption because people like the product more.
Okay, I can understand that. But the only thing I think about is like I feel like that assumes people would be able to engage with the item as often as you would imagine, or double the amount. Like specifically with this one, like this paradox to me does not make sense in all cases, but I understand the premise of it. Because specifically with this one, so if your car suddenly only needs half its fuel, like it's double the efficiency of its fuel consumption, you would not. That doesn't mean like, oh, my new commute is now 4 times longer. Therefore, I'm actually using more fuel than I needed. Like that assumes that, oh, this is improved. I can use it even more. I don't know how many people are like that for this to be like a big issue. I'm actually unsure about this one. Because to me, in my mind, like, depending on the object, depending on the item or whatever it is referring to, I believe it 100%. Like, let's say it's a food. Let's say this is a freaking, I don't know, a cupcake. No, I don't like cupcakes that much like that. Um, let's say it's a cookie. I don't know. Let's say it's a cookie, and the cookie has half the calories. Well, if it's half the calories, then I'm gonna feel fine eating more of them. Like 100%, that makes sense to me. Like you just have to change the product, the object, whatever item it is, and I 100% understand it. But to me, specifically just this example of driving, I don't understand that one. I don't feel like people would do that. Well, not all people, but very few people.
Olbers's paradox.
I basically just said a whole lot of nothing because I just said, yeah, I understand it. It makes sense because, yeah.
Why is the sky dark if there are a vast number of stars in the universe? Paradox of thrift.
Um, isn't it because of like the distance that the light would travel takes way too long to reach our planet or something like that? I can't recall. And then there's also like the sun that is near us, and during the day the stars are still there. We just can't see it because the sun is shining, kind of overshadows or overpowers the visibility. Like there's light pollution. That's kind of the way I'm imagining how that works. Is essentially a light pollution of the sun blocking the stars during the day, and then during the night, the light from the other stars, is just taking way too long to travel to us in order for it to shine the same way at the same vibrancy as the sun. Actually, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm kind of curious about that one, actually. I want to understand how that operates more now.
Saving more money individually is generally a good thing, but it can lead to economic problems for everyone as it could cause reduced consumption.
Did it? Yeah, it froze. Let me go back again because don't know if I missed some parts.
Individually is generally a good thing, but it can lead to economic problems for everyone as it could cause reduced consumption and economic growth.
That is definitely the case that we have seen throughout civilization. If everyone is saving money or everyone is not spending money, the economy collapses because there's not enough circulation in order to upkeep the cycle. So if let's like one way I would say is imagine a drought and there's a village, there's rain fills a river, the river evaporates, and then it becomes clouds again, and it just kind of cycles like that. If the water is never able to achieve one of these points where it never rains again, the river dries up, you have a drought. Or if the uh the water disappears from the area and then there's no more rain clouds, there's no rain because there's no water for it to eventually become rain, then you get back into the drought point. So I think of it in that kind of way. It also makes sense to me. I think the way I described it may also be just stupid, but that's because I am stupid.
Unexpected hanging paradox. A
What?
condemned prisoner is told he'll be hanged on a weekday next week, but the execution will surprise him.
What? Surprise! It's today. You're dying. Blech.
As the week progresses, he reasons that Friday is the latest possible day for the hanging, since it would still be a surprise on Thursday.
But it won't be a surprise if you think it's going to be Friday.
But if it hasn't happened by Thursday night, Friday is no longer a surprise. He concludes it must occur on Thursday, yet that would also be expected. Value.
See, they didn't say which week. He just said it's going to be a weekday. He didn't say this week, weekday. So therefore, they get him on Monday. Or they just get him in his sleep.
Paradox. Essential things like water are cheaper despite being crucial, while non-essentials like diamonds are more expensive.
People love luxuries. It's crazy. Like, I cannot look at the way other people... I was driving on the freeway earlier today, and I saw two, like, super, like souped up sports cars, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I could not. I don't like sports cars to begin with, and I'm also like pretty frugal with my spending and like what I want to buy. So I'm like, I could never. And of course, it's like the brand name, the material. Usually, it's like way more like valuable technically, even though we only live on these. It's such a funny thing that we've done because other animals they don't really do this. They use things as tools if they're not like essential, like food and water. That's the only thing they really care about. Well, and reproducing. Other items, it's a means to get the other ones. Us humans, not the case.
Pinocchio paradox. If Pinocchio says, "My nose will grow," it creates
There
a
it is.
logical dilemma. If it's true, his nose should grow, but then he's lying. If it's false, his nose shouldn't grow, but then he's telling the truth. Hedonism.
Yeah, and then it just keeps going back and forth. How do you just pronounce that? Hedonism? That was just a hedonistic, like hedonism.
Paradox. The more directly one seeks pleasure or happiness, the less likely they are to achieve it.
Yeah, I think that is completely true too, because people are always seeking something and then they just keep moving their own goalposts to themselves. Or at some point they're like, okay, no, I don't feel actually fulfilled. This isn't the happiness I was seeking. It's got to be this then. They just kind of just keep changing targets or they keep seeking it and then they always get like, they think they're achieving it. They get close to it and they're like, no, it has to be more. Like, let's say your goal is like, I want to save $10,000 after I don't know a couple months, like depending on like what you want to do. So then I can put it as a down payment on a car or something. And then you get closer to that, it's like, actually, no, I don't want that car. I want a different car, and it needs more money. Or you want to increase the amount, and you just keep changing it, and you just keep going on and on. And you're like, no, I don't feel happy with getting to this point. Actually, I want it to be this one. Actually, I need this one instead. No, I want it to be more. Like, you just keep increasing it, I guess, because you keep thinking about, oh, I need to get to this point to be happy. So you're thinking only if you get to this point you're happy, and then you're there and you're not happy. So you're like, okay, then it has to be more then. So it's like, I need 10,000 to be happy. Nope, I'm still not happy. I need 15,000 to be happy. Nope, I need 20,000 to be happy. Nope, 25. Just keeps going on and on. Like, that's what I'm kind of getting with this one specifically. Whereas for this guy, he's like, he's not thinking about, oh, I need to do all these things to become happy. I just need to enjoy myself, or I just need to do something. And if I enjoy it, nice. If I don't, I'll do something else, see if I enjoy it. Nice. Like it's just living in the moment, but not like frantically like you can think about your future if you're living in the moment, but not like obsess over it because this is basically obsession.
Crocodile paradox. A
What?
crocodile steals a child and promises its return if the
Why is he? What kind of magical crocodile is this?
parent correctly predicts what the crocodile will do. If the parent says the child won't be returned and the crocodile agrees, a paradox arises.
What is this Who made this paradox? What not Australian? What Floridian did this, and why?
If the crocodile returns the child, it contradicts its promise. If it doesn't return the child, it also contradicts the agreement. Sword and shield paradox.
I'm trying to think about the. Ooh, is this from? I'm trying to think. Is this from Dark Souls 3 or is this from? Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. No. Is this from Berserk? No, not Berserk. Not Berserk either. Wait, no. Wait, that's in the Elden Ring one. That's the Elden Ring Great Sword version. I thought it was the Dark Souls 3 one, but no.
What happens when a sword sharp enough to cut any shield meets a shield strong enough to block any blade?
Oh, wait. He chose Sword and Shield for this one? I thought he was gonna do the spear with the shield, because there's the two where it's like the spear can pierce any shield, and then the shield can block any attack.
Child, it also
Let
contradicts the
me just hear
agreement.
that again.
Sword and shield paradox. What happens when a sword sharp enough to cut any shield meets a
Yeah.
shield strong enough to block any blade? Dichotomy paradox.
Also, Tower Great Shield. Very nice.
Imagine walking towards a destination. To reach it, you'd first have to walk halfway there, and to walk halfway there, you'd first have to walk a quarter of the way there, and so on, creating an infinite amount of steps and causing you to not be able to reach your destination.
What? What? What do you mean?
Fletcher,
I don't understand that one yet. Because it what? I'm still trying to wrap my head around it because that one does not make sense to me. In order to reach
what
your
happens when a sword
Okay, hold
sharp
up.
enough to cut any shield meets a shield strong enough to block any blade? Dichotomy paradox. Imagine walking towards a destination. To reach it, you'd first have to walk halfway there, and to walk halfway there, you'd first have to walk a quarter of the way there, and
That doesn't that logic to me does not make sense. So you keep subdividing it in half in ad infinitum? It what? This one does not make sense to me at all. Like it feels like it's contrived for the sake of being contrived. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like so in order to reach your target, you have to first get halfway there. But if you got halfway there, you have to be a quarter way there to get halfway there. What? I don't understand how this one actually functions. Hold up, I'm going to pause and then I'm gonna read up a bit more to try to like understand it more because this one does not make sense to me at all. Okay, so I looked into it more and the reason why this was created was instead of a destination, so it's supposed to be a race of the philosopher Zeno of Elea, where in order to finish the race, a, a racer must first achieve half or reach the halfway point, but to do that, they have to do halfway point. So what they're trying to say is it's not one task, it's infinitely many tasks in order to achieve something, which I still think is stupid because you're taking one task and subdividing it indefinitely until it becomes like limitless. I don't understand what kind of BS were trying to come up with this, but apparently it was to support his own teacher's philosophy on something, which is kind of stupid. Yeah, I think it's stupid. You know what, let's move on.
so on, creating an infinite amount of steps and causing you to not be able to reach your destination. Fletcher paradox. Though it seems an arrow in motion is continuously changing its position, the paradox argues that at any instant, it can't move to where it isn't, or where
Sorry. Just I heard that and immediately went, the missile knows where it is. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or where it isn't from where it is, depending on which is greater. Like, like what the fuck is this shit, dude?
it is, making it stationary. Since time consists of these
I swear, is this also from Zeno or from his teacher? Because this is what he was supposed to be. This is what they were trying to argue is that reality and motion are like different thing. Was let me reconfirm. I still have it up. That reality is singular and unchanging, and then the paradoxes aim to show that motion and plurality are illusory. So that's what I'm assuming they were trying to. They were really trying to get this going. This person's like really trying to get his teachers like views and beliefs like set up for everyone else. Like, what the heck, dude? What is this bullshit?
instances
Like, could you imagine? It's like, oh yeah, I threw a punch at your face, but I didn't actually. You just ran into it because my fist was stationary. Like, imagine trying to say that to that person. Like, it doesn't make sense.
this paradox suggests the arrow is stationary the entire time.
This also assumes that the arrow is not bending up and down in order to course correct itself to make it fly straighter.
Grand Hotel paradox. In an infinitely big hotel with infinitely many rooms,
I feel like I remember this in high school with my stats class or something.
even if all rooms are occupied, the hotel can still accommodate more guests. In order to accommodate you, the hotel could, hypothetically, move the guest from room 1 to room 2. This would move every guest from their current room to a new room, which is possible since there's an infinite number of rooms.
Okay.
Card paradox.
What? Was that it? That's just how infinite works. I don't understand what the paradox in that is. That's just how infinity works.
Current room to a new room, which is possible
Like, infinity plus infinity is less than infinity times infinity. Like, that's just how it works.
since there's an infinite number of rooms. Card paradox. What's true if a card has the phrase, the sentence on the other side of this card is true on the front side, and the phrase, the sentence on the other side of this card is false on the back side?
One tells truths, the other lies. In fact, they actually both are lying to you.
Liar paradox. Imagine that someone says, I'm lying.
This is Pinocchio and that card again.
If the liar is indeed lying, then the liar is telling the truth, which means that he just lied about lying. Grain of millet paradox. When a grain of millet falls, it makes no sound, but when 1,000 grains fall, they do. Thus, many of nothing become something. The truth is that it does make a sound. It's just
so quiet that you need a bunch of them in order to... Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you ever need to experience that... No, I'm actually not going to say that. I was going to say something crazy, but it'd be irresponsible.
that it's so inaudible that we don't perceive it. Boltzmann brain. It might be more likely for a single brain to spontaneously form in a void, complete with a memory of having existed in our universe, rather than for the entire universe.
Wait, I need to restart
Boltzmann
that.
brain. It might be more likely for a single brain to spontaneously form in a void, complete with a memory of having existed in our universe, rather than for the entire universe to come about.
Yeah, guys, come on. That's just how we all are born, though. Like, straight up, guys. Don't believe any of the lies anyone else tells you. We are actually nothing and we just formed ourselves. We are all powerful.
Paradox of enrichment. Increasing the food available to an ecosystem may lead to instability and even to extinction.
I'm trying to think about how that one operates because I understand it and I think that it can be true. Or that it is true. And I'm kind of thinking it's like if there's too many options, I wish it was explained in a different way because the way it
Increasing the
sounds.
food available to an ecosystem may lead to instability and
Yeah. So I'm trying to because the depiction is like this is basically cooked or like well not cooked but like it's a mix between like natural and then cooked and then other various means of making food, which if you were to introduce as many types, it does because I don't know which type of environment he's trying to add it to. Because if you're adding like a bunch of like new like crops and fruits and such to a ecosystem of animals, at some point it will have its weird like influx, and then the entire thing would go sideways. I don't know how if it would be extinction because I like well the way I'm thinking about it is with the cane toads in Australia, where they brought in basically these uh, animals into the environment that can't be used as food. Maybe that's why, because they weren't able to be used as food in this environment. You know what? I'm just let it slide because I'm trying to understand it, but I have a loose understanding of it that is very weak.
even to extinction. Service recovery paradox. Successfully fixing a problem with a defective product may lead to higher consumer satisfaction than in the case where no problem occurred at all.
Yes. Also can wait. Is there more to this one? No. So I thought he was going to add another part to the paradox where it's like, and people would also have a worse view of the product if something did occur, and it was, even though it was still fixed. Because I think that is absolutely the case that we would also see. I feel like that should have also been included in the paradox, where it's like either whether it's improved or not, or fixed or not, people's opinions may either go negatively or positively compared to what it was previously.
Stability-instability paradox. When two countries each have nuclear weapons, the probability of a direct war between them
Mutually assured destruction.
greatly decreases, but
Yeah, wait.
the probability of minor or indirect conflicts between them increases.
Yes. Because they can't use their massive weapon on the other person in fear of their own side getting the massive weapon taken or used on them. So instead they have to do these smaller skirmishes. I think that is just completely logical. Like, we've seen that for how long has it been now? About 70-ish years for the Cold War as well. Like they can't, like the US and the USSR were not able to like outwardly go to war. They also couldn't use their nukes on each other. And they would have to do like either covert operations against each other through proxies and such. Like Cuba, we have that. Um Middle East, there's quite a few there, or for Russia against like some of our own allies where we kind of are like going against them, using them instead. Like it's just it makes sense.
Ironic process theory. Ironic processing is the psychological process whereby an individual's deliberate attempts to suppress or avoid certain
Oh, yeah.
thoughts renders those thoughts more persistent.
If any of you understand this one, guess what? You lost the game. I hope you hate me now. Oh, that one's I love doing that to people because I don't give a crap about it. My mind is empty if I'm not actively like thinking. Like when I'm talking, I'm not thinking, it's just coming out. If I'm thinking, I'm talking in my head. It's separate. Two
Paradox of
channels.
choice. It's the theory that eliminating consumer choices can
Yes.
be beneficial
You add more options, they don't know what to pick. You take away the options, they can pick it more easily.
because it greatly reduces anxiety for shoppers. Birthday paradox. To have a 100% probability of at least 2 people in a group having the same birthday, you'd need 366 people. To have a 50% probability, however, you'd need just 23 people. Schrodinger
23? How does I'm not sure how that operates. Why is it 23? Birthday paradox explained. So, why it feels counterintuitive. They imagine that the chance of a match grows slowly as more people are added. However, the probability actually grows exponentially because every new person can form a pair with someone that already exists. I would assume then that you would need half of the. No, I know. No, no, I see it. Yeah, I see it.
cat. In quantum theory, a particle can be in multiple states simultaneously when not observed. This state is called superposition. When observed,
Yes.
however, the superposition condition collapses, and the particle is randomly in exactly one of those states. Let's hypothetically say that we put a machine that releases poison only when the particle is in the A state in a box, and that we also put a cat in it. Until observed, the machine would simultaneously release the poison and not release the poison. This means that, until observed, the cat would be both alive
And yeah.
and dead. This would obviously work only if we don't consider the cat or the machine as observers. Twin paradox. According to Einstein, the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time.
Wait, I should let him say what the twin one is.
If your identical twin became an astronaut and went on a spaceship
Oh, yeah, they'd be younger than you by the time they came back.
that traveled at the speed of light, you'd be some years older than him when he returned. Friendship paradox. On average, your
I'm trying to remember how that one operates, because space travel is a very confusing one to me when it comes to that. Because if you're moving at the speed of light, no, I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to move on.
friends tend to have more friends than you do. This happens because people who are social and have more friends are more likely to be your friends. Raven paradox. If you wanted
Rude.
to confirm that all ravens are black, finding a black raven supports your claim. But the paradox suggests that also finding something that is not a raven and not black, such as a green apple, supports your claim.
What do you mean? Oh, that's such a stupid one, but I think it's so funny. Wait, I want to hear that again.
That all ravens are be your friends. Raven paradox. If you wanted to confirm that all ravens are black, finding a black raven supports your claim. But the paradox suggests that also finding something that is not a raven and not black, such as a green apple, supports your claim.
That's so funny to me. Like, I kind of understand it, not really, but like enough to like understand that the base premise of it. But it's so stupid to me that this can function that way.
Temperature paradox. If the temperature is 90 and the temperature is rising, is 90 rising? Interesting number
Wait,
paradox.
what?
Black, such as a green apple, supports your claim. Temperature paradox. If the temperature is 90 and the temperature is rising, is 90 rising?
What? Is the 90 rising, or is it something else that's supposed to be? Like, I don't understand what they're referring to in this one. The 90 is not. The 90 is just a measurement. Like, it shouldn't be itself in existence. It's what is being read, what is being perceived, what is being measured. I don't really understand the logic in this one.
Interesting
Like, one more time.
raven and not black, such as a green apple, supports your claim. Temperature paradox. If the temperature is 90 and the temperature is rising, is 90 rising?
The temperature is rising. 90 is just the reading. Like, I don't get it.
Interesting number paradox. There can't be a smallest uninteresting number as if it's the first uninteresting one. It becomes interesting for that fact. It naturally follows that every single number is interesting. Irresistible force paradox.
Yeah, I've heard of that one before, and I still think it's kind of stupid, but it makes sense.
What happens when an unstoppable force meets an
Movable,
immovable
yeah.
object? Lottery paradox.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was a straightforward one.
If there is one winning ticket in a large lottery, it is reasonable to believe of any particular lottery ticket that it is not the winning ticket, but it is not reasonable to believe that no lottery ticket will win. If there is one winning ticket in a large lottery, it is reasonable to believe of any particular lottery ticket that it is not the winning ticket, but
Okay.
it is not reasonable to believe that no lottery ticket will win.
Yes. Okay, I see how this one, what it means. So you have to understand that if there's a 1 in 100 chance of winning, the chances of you losing with a given ticket is 99%. So it's very likely you can just assume that a ticket you get is going to lose. However, you cannot say that no tickets inside this lottery will lose, because there is always that one. It's just a very unlikely chance. So you can't say that it's none.
Preparedness paradox.
I feel like I've gotten that wrong, because like it's just so straightforward that it doesn't make sense to me that it's a paradox.
After preparing to avoid a
Oh no.
catastrophe and lessening the damage, the perception regarding the catastrophe would be much less serious due to the limited damage caused after.
Yep, that's just how some people are. Like, that's just a fallacy of some people's minds where it's like, that's another thing with like some fallacies and some people like the survivorship bias or survivor bias, where it's like, oh, this already happened to me, it can't happen again, or I survived this, it can't happen again, or anything like that. Like, anything can still happen. It's still equal. The force of that uh storm is still the force that it was. It's just you were prepared against it, so you didn't feel it as badly as like the other ones where you were not as prepared. Like, it's just straightforward like that. But anyways, it was interesting seeing some of these other ones. I'm still uncertain about a few of them. They don't really make sense to me still, but I think this was fun to go through. I do enjoy seeing some of their stuff. I've looked at some of their other ones. I'd have to look through and comb through which ones I have actually seen because I've not looked at all of their videos. I've looked at a few, but I'm not actually sure which ones I remember seeing. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, go over to Panic Explainer's channel, subscribe and like. If you could do the same for me, that'd be awesome. And with that, let me know what you thought about this video down below. Any thoughts, any explanations you have for the ones I couldn't explain properly, or any other ways you want to explain it that's better than mine. And I think we are done here. We out.